This week, we start our trench runs, and I'll show you some real-world lighting tips that I was able to apply to Blender. So here we are, our X-Wings finally head into the trench. Now, this was a fun and interesting shot in that I had some suns in my scene in order to light up my trench. So even though my suns are way over here, I didn't want them illuminating the trench as much as they were. So I wound up, for the first time in this project, doing what people do on film sets, and essentially use flags to flag off the light. Now, even though the suns are over here, somehow they are lighting up this whole scene. Don't really know how it works that well, but here's what I did in order to flag off the sun so they're not just blasting the trench. I put two planes in to block the sun, and if I turn them off, you can look up above. Look how much sun is hitting the trench when I turn those off. So I have a better highlight of the trench and low lights of the trench as this X-Wing flies into the trench. Now, as per usual, I have lights lighting my X-Wing. I have a camera, and everything is following the same path in order to get down into the trench. And here we go. We are flying down. The X-Wing flies into the trench. My camera has multiple keyframes on it to twist it and turn it as we get down into the trench. And I have them sort of overshoot and come back up and settle into the trench to fly off and start their run. If we go in closer here, let's take a look at our R2 unit. I believe, let's find out. Yep, my R2 unit turns his head. Oh, we can't see, he goes out of frame. So there we go. You can kind of see his head turning there. How many keyframes? Oh, I got a couple keyframes. So he turns his head, holds it for a second, and then turns it back the other way, just to make some little visual interest there. And that is it. Following some paths into the trench for each X-Wing. So I'm going to show you something interesting here. I use this same file to do the back plates for my trench. So if you see over here, I have an extra camera that is flying along a path that I didn't use in this render. This is the camera I used for this render, but I still had another camera in there that was doing stuff that didn't affect the shot I was doing there. I did not delete it out of the scene, but that camera was left over from basically doing a trench run backplate, which I will show you later. But this is the red leader flying into the trench. But now let's take a look at the blue leader flying into the trench. And here goes my blue leader. Now, if you'll notice, I have my red leader and blue leader flying in different directions because they would fly in different directions. My suns are in the same place. I have two flags here, which I placed in a different portion to mask off a different portion of the trench where the blue leader was flying. If you'll notice in the other one, the red leader was flying farther on down this way. I probably did the blue leader first. I probably did these out of order because the blue leader seemed to be at the beginning of the trench and the red leader was more at the other side of the trench. Anyway, same principle. I have some flags flagging off the suns, and then a curve for the blue leader and the camera to follow as we fly in there. There we go. You can see the camera following and the blue leader going in, and the shadows are on the different side of the Death Star because the blue leader is going the other way. I probably did the same thing with my R2 unit. Let's get in close and see if that R2 unit's going to turn his head. Yes, he is. Different head turn. Just one head turn here. One big head turn for that one. Turn around and looking right back at us. Oh, no, but it keeps going. Okay, it resets. Oh, did I do something? Yeah, there's the other keyframe. Way off over here. So that's the other thing. You can put keyframes outside of your render zone to make stuff happen and look smooth. And every keyframe does not have to be within the area that you are rendering. Once again, if we go back here, here's that miscellaneous camera that's doing my trench run without doing anything for this shot, just left over there. But that's it. And the camera that follows into the trench, once again, lots of keyframes to make sure we keep that X-wing in frame as we fly into the trench and start our trench run. Next week, cannon fire in the trench. I'll see you then.